Hi, and welcome to the Modern Hippie Girl podcast. I am Shalon, the Modern Hippie Girl, and I am so excited for this episode. We are going to talk all about nutrition and what we need to eat to heal ourselves, what we need to eat to lose weight, what food is actually doing when we're eating it. Because I think that most people just think that we just eat mindlessly and we don't actually give it a second thought, but it actually is doing something when we eat it. So let's talk about it. All right. So in my program, we focus on clean eating. What is clean eating? Basically, if it didn't come from the ground or eat from the ground, it's not going in our body. It needs to have no additional additives. So organic, grass-fed, pasture raised, wild caught, the cleanest sources that you can get of food. This is how our body heals. And look, I get it. It is not always the cheapest to eat this way. Okay? But stores have come a long way. Walmart actually has a lot of organic options. And if you go to a Walmart superstore, they have fruits and vegetables now. And I will mention this because I think it's worth mentioning. Fruits and vegetables that are frozen, that if you look at the ingredient list, it's just the vegetables or the fruit, are actually just as nutritious, if not more nutritious, than fresh fruit or vegetables. So if you live somewhere where you don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, having it come from the freezer section is okay. Why? Because when they take whatever it is, say they're freezing peas, they literally freeze them right then and there. So all of that nutrients gets locked in there. And then when you go to eat it, you are getting the nutrients that was locked in there. Most fruits and vegetables, unless you're literally buying them from the farmer's market in your local area, had to travel pretty far to get to your grocery store, right? I live in California. A lot of our fruits and vegetables come from Mexico. Okay, that's a little bit of a drive, right? So, or plane ride, whatever. I'm just saying there's a time lapse there. So the longer that it goes from being picked to being put in your body, the less nutritious value it has. With that being said, obviously, it's still nutrients for your body, okay? It's still better than eating frozen junk food, okay? But I'm just saying there is a way to still get fruits and vegetables if you do not live somewhere where you have access to it on a constant basis. With that being said, the reason that we focus on eating fruits, vegetables, lean meats, if you're vegan, then, there are protein sources that are, obviously vegan. If you already are vegan, you know this, but if you're not, there are things like chickpeas. There's just a lot of different stuff that you can eat that is a vegan protein source. Nuts and seeds, legumes, those are all going to be something that's going to be super nutritious for your body. So when we eat clean, we are basically giving our body information because food is medicine, okay? Every single piece of food that comes from our earth has a nutrient value in it. So like I was saying in the last episode, we all know that oranges are a big source of vitamin C. So when you're consuming that orange, that vitamin C is going into your body, and then your body is utilizing it where it needs to be utilized to be stronger and healthier because it needs vitamin C. When we're eating a frozen burrito or a Pop-Tart or cereal, there is not nutritious value in there that's going to our body that is utilizing it to heal our body. Okay, they might add stuff to it to have more nutrition value. Like this has a lot of protein. This has a lot of iron. This has a lot of fiber. It does not matter because the amount of additives that they put into that processed food counterbalance what you just ate that could have been nutritious for your body, because it ruined your gut health. And you can listen to the gut health episode and understand what I'm talking about. It ruined your gut health to the point where those things no longer are going to have the value that they would have had it just been a clean source of food. So why do we eat clean? When I say organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised, wild caught, all of that stuff. Because when we are eating those sources of food, they naturally do not have all the additives, okay? When you are eating conventionally grown foods, they are going to be sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, fungicides that are killing our gut microbiome, killing it. Okay, those are all contributors to leaky gut. So finding a source of food that doesn't put that stuff on your vegetation is only going to be that much better for you. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but our vegetation does not have the nutritional value that it once had. Our soil is so depleted of nutrients. They say that we only have about 60 harvests left before all the nutritional value is gone from our soil, because we plant, let's say it's carrots. We plant the carrots, we let them grow, we put all the pesticides, herbicides, all the crap on it. Then we harvest them, then we till that dirt again, and then we do the same thing over again. And every single time you're putting herbicides and pesticides and fungicides on the soil, you're depleting it of nutrients that the vegetation needs in order to be nutritious for our bodies. So unless I highly recommend supporting regenerative farms because they are doing it correctly. And we'll talk about regenerative farming in a second. But when we are eating conventionally raised anything, not just fruits and vegetables, also livestock, it is depleted of nutrients and it has additives that are in it that are killing our bodies. So when you're going for lean meats, and I say lean meats because if you're eating processed meats like sausage and pepperoni and, anything that comes in a package, all of that is obviously highly processed and it's lost the nutritional value that our body needs. And it also has things that are also killing our gut microbiome. A huge, huge component and root cause of colon cancer is eating processed meats and barbecue from the carcinogens. So I say lean meats when I talk about clean eating because we want food that is nutritious for our body that is also going to help it heal. So chicken, fish, lean cuts of steak, turkey, bison, wild caught game, fish. And I know that there's fish out there that, are more on the side that have more mercury and heavy metals and stuff like that. But this is why we eat wild caught, and this is why we eat in moderation, right? So when you put these things on your plate, our plate has a specific way that it should look in order to not only give our body what it needs in order to heal itself, but also to not gain weight and not overeat. It should have 4 components. It should have lean meats or whatever vegan protein that you are. So it should have protein, good carbs, good fats, and vegetables. Half your plate should be vegetables and greens. A quarter of it should be good fats, because even though it's a good fat, fat is fat. The rest should be good carbs, and then a quarter of your plate should be protein. So your ounces for protein should be about 4 or 5 ounces. I am not a huge meat eater anymore. I do eat protein. I do consume protein. But I have found that my body needs it to run optimally, but it doesn't need excessive amounts of it. I generally eat about like 3 ounces of protein when I eat. But if you are doing something like building, like if you're working out, like right now I've been in a workout routine regimen, I am eating about 100 grams of protein minimum a day. Everybody is different. If you are somebody who is vegan or vegetarian, then obviously there are sources of protein that you can have that are going to be replacing lean meats, but they're going to be high in calories. So it's really hard to lose weight if that's your goal, if you're eating vegan and you're eating vegan sources of protein. So we get into this limbo of really needing to eat more fruits and vegetables than eating, like, say, chickpeas as your protein. Most vegans eat a lot of tempeh and tofu as their protein sources, which then you're getting into the category of eating too much soy, which is also not good for hormone balance. So I would always say moderation. Organic, 100% of the time. Do not skimp on that with your tofu or tempeh. Always organic, because the amount of crap that gets put into those two things is insane. Steer clear like the plague of vegan fake meat. It is so bad for your body. Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? The Modern Hippie Girl Reset is a 3-phase holistic wellness program designed to help women reconnect with their bodies and create real, lasting health from the inside out. In this program, you'll get precise meal plans, hormone and gut healing protocols, stress management tools, blood sugar balancing tips, and an extensive holistic health education to help you keep your results for life. Plus, there's optional personalized coaching to support you every step of the way. If you've been feeling off, overwhelmed, or stuck, this is how we'll get back to feeling like your best self again. Check out all of our programs at modernhippiegirlwellness.com. Just like I was talking about how to naturally eat gluten-free, there is a way to eat naturally vegan. Okay, so when you are switching to vegan and going into the vegan lifestyle, we are not talking about eating foods that look like foods that are vegan. Vegan meat, vegan cheese, vegan, snacks and stuff. I mean, Oreos are vegan, you guys. Okay? That does not mean it's good for you. We are talking about naturally vegan foods. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes. That is how you heal your body. You are not going to heal your body from eating fake cheese and fake meat. I was vegan at one point, and I love vegan food. Like, let's be clear. Like, I eat it a lot, but I eat the clean way. When you are eating vegan food that is highly processed, you are not going to heal your body, and you are going to have hormonal imbalances through the roof. Most have high estrogen. And you are going to also have high amounts of inflammation, body pain. Not good. Okay, so this is why I always go back to eating clean, because you can eat clean gluten-free, you can eat clean vegan, you can eat clean Mediterranean, you can eat clean pescatarian, you can eat clean any type of way that you want to eat out there. Keto. You can eat keto clean. But you have to realize that if it's not eating from the ground or coming from the ground, it's not supposed to go in your body. The food industry made snacks to have a profit. They wanted to invent something that would give the world another source of food so that they could make more income. We did not have snacks 100 years ago. You know, we would make muffins or we would make cookies or we would make bread or something like that. But we weren't buying boxes of goldfish and Cheez-Its and stuff, right? All of that stuff is highly processed. And there are clean sources, you know, like Simple Mills is a great source of like a clean cracker or whatever, but it's still a processed food and it's still a snack that your body doesn't need. We'll talk about that in a second, what your body actually does need. And then on average, if you are snacking during the day, you are eating 500 to 800 more calories a day. That's a lot of extra calories that add up at the end of the week. It's like a pound a week. So if your scale's going up and you're a snacker, stop snacking. And if you're a grazer, I don't even want to get into it about grazing. It is so bad for our digestion. So bad. Every time we eat, it takes your stomach a minimum of 90 minutes to digest your food. We need the complete cycle of digesting our food in order for our body to make and absorb the nutrients we need to heal our body and to have optimal health. So if you're eating again within that time, your body is, your digestion's never getting a break. It's just constantly going, which is not good for healing your gut. And 2, you are not ever getting anything into your gut that is going to actually do anything for your body, for your gut. So we should be eating with a minimum of a 4 to 6 hour break in between, because you need 90 minutes minimum for your body to properly digest your food. And then you need at least a 2-hour window where your stomach literally gets a break and does nothing for 2 hours. It needs to rest. It needs to rest, okay? You should only be eating every 4 to 6 hours, which means you should not be snacking, right? Because if you're not eating in that time, you're not snacking, okay? So you should be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner with no snacks in between. You should be giving your body the ability to digest and take a break. Eating clean is one of the most effective ways for you to achieve optimal health and to heal your body. And like I said, it doesn't matter how you do it. It's pescatarian, Mediterranean, blah, 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 blah. Just eating clean sources of food that don't have a bunch of additives and a bunch of crap on them. All of these things are simple switches that you can make at the store, okay? Yes, you can cook your favorite foods in a clean way. If you want spaghetti, all you have to do is buy this thing of noodles instead of this thing of noodles, because this one's clean, it has clean ingredients, and this one's full of a bunch of crap that you don't need. You buy this marinara instead of this marinara. You know, there are so many ways to eat the foods that we love and still eat them clean. All of these are in moderation, because if we get into the habit, just like I said, just because you're eating clean does not mean you're eating optimally forever, right? You're not getting a free pass to just cook all your food clean and now you're going to be able to maintain your weight and lose weight and heal your gut. We need to focus on the plate way of eating, the way I told you guys: protein, good carbs, good fats, veggies, and then have meals that we cooked clean for our favorite things: tacos, you know, burritos, whatever it is that you want. There's a clean way to make them. You're just making different swaps in the store. So I teach the the 80-15-5 rule in my program. 80% of the time, you're eating the way that your plate should look, right? With the four things. 15% of the time, you're cooking meals clean, whatever it is that you desire. And 5% of the time, you're just going out and have at it. Like, what do you feel like having? What restaurant did you want to go to? What's your favorite meal? Just go get it. This is how you eat in the proportions that your body needs to heal. And this is how you maintain your results once you've achieved them. So we're not eating like that from the jump. This is after you heal. Okay. This is a big, big part of my program. It's in 3 phases for a reason. Phase 1 is all about starting the reset button in our body so we can heal. Phase 2 is all about learning how to eat clean. And phase 3 is about how to learn how to eat clean for life. You have to do it in the sequence so that you can adjust and make the moves without feeling overwhelmed. I told you guys I was going to talk about regenerative farming really fast because I feel like it is the wave of the future and the way that we need to be farming in order for us to be able to eat what we need to be putting in our body for the rest of our lives. I'll put a link in the show notes of a video that you can watch about regenerative farming, but essentially it's a way to use livestock to replenish the soil so that the soil is not being depleted, because already they're organic farming. They're not putting stuff on there that's going to kill the soil, but they're also using livestock to replenish the soil so that the vegetation that's coming out of it, the fruits and vegetables and stuff, and the stuff that the cows or chickens or pigs or whatever are eating is really good for them so that the nutrients are at their best when we're eating fruits and veggies. And then the livestock that we're eating from a regenerative farm in turn is also eating really, really good sources of vegetation so that they're super clean sources of food for us. If we could have every farm do that and we could get rid of conventional farming, and I understand that like we have conventional farming so that people have a different price point, but if you've looked at the price point difference between organic and conventional farming for fruits and vegetables lately, it's really not that much of a difference. And I'm going to say this a million times, you either pay for it now or you pay for it later. So if you are not healing your body and getting your body to a good place right now, you are just going to be spending that much more money at the end of your days on prescription drugs, going to the doctors, being on, some kind of sick care regimen, hospice care. You're not being able to work anymore. You have, the ability to not care for yourself the way you used to. You got to be on a walker. You got to be, there's so many things that go into the end stages of life that don't have to be that way if we just took care of ourselves now so that we're stronger at that point. So if we can eat clean and eat organic and wild caught and farm raised and all of the things now, yes, it costs a little bit of extra money, but in the long run, it's just going to give us that much better health so that we don't have to be sick at our last days of life. I don't want to be bedridden. I don't want to be on a million prescriptions. I don't want to feel like crap in my last days. I want to be on point until my last day. The only reason that we feel the way that we do in our end days is because of the way we treated ourselves as we were getting to that point. So let's learn together about the things that we can do now to prevent that from happening so that we are sprightly at 70, 80 years old and our brain is working on all cylinders and we are just that person that we all see where we're like, that person is freaking awesome. They are like on it. They're so sharp. They're out there. They're still active. Like, I want to be that person. I don't want to be decrepit and bedridden and feeling like, oh, like today sucks again. I want to feel great. until the end. And I want to be there for my boys, and I want to be there for them in the best way that I can, so I don't feel like a burden to them at their last stages of life. And this all stems from how we treated our body from the beginning. I'm going to get off my soapbox because it is just so important to understand how important it is to get your ducks in a row now. Like, you're just going to feel so much better. I'm going to stop there with talking about nutrition because there's so many layers to nutrition, and I'm going to talk more in depth about nutrition in the next nutrition episode, about polyphenols and micronutrients and macronutrients and all the different things that are what we're eating when we are eating food and what they're doing for our bodies, where we give sources of vitamins and sources of minerals and all of that stuff, because it's so important to understand what those things do for our body and how they're helping us. It's just amazing what food does for our bodies. It's just insane. And then once you know, you can't unlearn it. So I'm going to stop here and go into the next episode, but I wanted to talk about nutrition and clean eating really quick, just so you guys can get like a good foundation of what I'm talking about, because this is how we eat in my program, because this is how you have to eat to heal. And it's not hard. It's just learning new information and making simple swaps at the store, the farmer's market, whatever. Thank you so much for listening. Reach out if you have questions, DM me, email me, write your questions in the comments. I love doing this. It's so much fun. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.